Okay, we'll get things started off with House on the Edge of the Park from 1980. So, two low-life punks invite themselves to a party at a posh villa, and after being taunted by their snobbish hosts, they hold everyone hostage and subject them to various forms of torture and mayhem. This is a movie that I actually blind bought this so many years ago, and I actually only just now watched it. I didn't really know too much about it, outside of the fact that, it's got David Hess in it, who we've seen in some other movies. He's played some low-life type characters, and it's directed by Ruggero Deodato, if I've pronounced that correctly, who is quite famous for Cannibal Holocaust. And we also recently talked about one of his other films, Cut and Run.
Not to mention Body Count some time ago.
Though that one was a little more tame compared to the other three, including this one. So, based on just those few facts, I kind of knew what to expect to some degree. I did somewhat get out of it what I was expecting to get out of it. This is one of those movies that I'm just going to have a very tough time rating, because, to be honest, I don't know how much I enjoyed it. But I will say that it is a little odd that for a movie that's got so much, well, let's just say rape, I feel like the more and more I watch these types of movies, they have a little less effect on me, like in terms of, being tough to watch. I didn't find this one as tough to watch as some previous movies of the same nature, so I don't know, maybe I'm just getting a little desensitized to these.
The actually interesting thing about that, because I was thinking about that, but based on the ending of the movie, you could argue that the situation they got themselves in was almost expected. So maybe it wasn't as, it was still rape, but it might have been a smidge more consent there because they sort of knew going in what might happen.
Yeah, that's a decent point. However, even before we get the kind of plot reveal towards the end, I still didn't feel like it was all that difficult to watch, at least compared to some other movies, like I was saying, of similar nature.
Yeah, I think the most troubling scene as far as the sexual violence goes was probably the opening, which is just a very quick scene. It wasn't particularly graphic, but, you can just imagine something like that happening. So this one has been on my radar for quite some time. It's one of those movies I've just heard about, never heard that much about it. And to be honest, I'm not sure if I've ever even read a review on this one. I've just known about it, never seen it, and I finally watched it, and I thought it was pretty much what I expected. It's like exploitation movie 101 in a way.
Yeah.
There's nothing groundbreaking here, there's nothing like overly brutal, it's nothing like surprisingly shocking, it's just exploitation 101. It's for the type of movie it is, it's well done. I thought David Hess in particular had fantastic acting, and it's not like Chucky said, there's not like a whole lot of story here. Pretty much these people are trapped in this house for like most of the movie, and they try to do something, and then boom, they get tortured in some way or humiliated. So yeah, it's not like there's a whole lot of meat to this story, but I thought it was, for what it was, I thought it was well done. And I think the biggest issue with this is, one, I'm not sure there's going to be a whole lot of rewatchability for this one. And two, like you said, I also don't know if this is a movie I particularly enjoy. I can see it was decently well made, but I didn't enjoy that much of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for a good portion of the film, I was just sitting there wondering, like, is this movie going anywhere? Like, what? It's like, okay, they're at this house, some raping stuff happens.
I have to say, the whole, I know I grew up in a different time, but the whole idea of, city folk just going to this house in the country just for like a get together, and I have no idea how these friends met. Like, there's this one black woman, there's like some rich people. I have no idea who these people are and how they became friends, but the whole story just seemed a bit different to me, just because that's some type of experience that I've not really had.
Yeah, Because when I first started watching this movie, I was getting a little confused. We see David Hess, kind of dressing up, and they're playing some disco music here and there, and I was like, am I watching House on the Edge of the Park, or am I watching Saturday Night Fever?
To bust of both worlds.
Get some Bee Gees going, let's see where it goes.
But the question is, but will they be staying alive?
Very nice. But as I was saying, because I was wondering where the movie was going, but as soon as they actually started revealing, okay, why certain things happened, okay, then it started to pay off a little, I guess. Because I was genuinely confused in the earlier stages. Like, this guy's just nonchalantly like, here's $20, $40, fix this problem that I don't even have with my car. Like, it just seemed odd.
It's sort of funny, because that guy, throughout the whole movie, well, throughout most of the movie, he has a very calm demeanor. Like, given the situation, he seems oddly calm about everything. He actually reminded me of that rich guy from The Porch. The long hair and just that face.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very... I mean, we never know that much about the character, but I thought he was one of the more interesting characters there. And just the way he was acting with these people, like, from the beginning, it just seemed strange, but at the same time, I don't know about you, but I'll be honest, that thing at the end sort of took me by surprise.
Yeah, it did for me a little too. Which did help, because I felt like I don't know, it helped take the movie just up to a different level.
Like, otherwise it would have just been like, quote-unquote, aimless violence, which is fine and it has its place, especially in exploitation movies, but at the same time trying to make a little more of a quote-unquote story with it, I can appreciate that.
Yeah. I guess the only other thing that I wanted to touch on here was maybe some of the music in the movie, like especially that one song, that Sweetly song. It may be played a little too much, but at the same time, I felt like the inclusion of that song did add like a touch of, I don't know, kind of like a bit of a creepy vibe to it. Yeah, I don't know if it was the same for you, but I felt like if they didn't have that or any of the other little similar sounding type music in the movie, that probably would have detracted a little bit from my rating.
Yeah, I think the very retro soundtrack, I really dug that. I'm not like the biggest disco guy, but I still enjoy the style they were going for. Now, I did have one question for you. Which one of those women was the most attractive in your eyes?
The longer haired brunette is probably, like, if I had to choose, yeah.
That is a decent choice.
Okay, so what's your choice?
I forget the I mean, it should be sad beforehand. It's also sort of awkward for a movie like this anyway, because these women are spin situations that are undesirable. But I thought the girl who popped up near the end was decently attractive.
Cindy, is that?
Yeah, that was her name. Because he did that annoying song. That's one song I could have done without. On a side note.
A little too petite for me, but okay.
Oh, yeah, but she had a very, very cute, almost innocent look to her, so I can dig that. Although something should be sad for, and I also forget this character's name, and to be fair, I'm not sure how much character names matter in this movie, but the main short-haired woman who was sort of doing that, sort of flirting with the David Hass's character. I didn't necessarily find her attractive, but she was certainly seductive. I guess this one thing I did want to mention. It's just like a small piece of trivia which may or may not be interesting, but according to IMDb, they are trying to work on a sequel to this movie. And I'm not sure what the state of that production is. I know I read an article about it some months ago. And I'm not sure why they would be doing it after, 40-something years. But I just thought that was interesting, and hey, maybe we can see a continuation of this beautiful story.
Hey, I mean, if they can make another I Spit on Your Grave, I guess anything's possible.
Hey, and they made a bunch of those too anyway, so...
Yeah. Well, I mean, the original director making another one with the original actress, and that was somewhere around the late 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was 78.
Okay, well, my final rating for this one. Look, this is Before I actually give my rating, I just want to say, and I touched on this earlier, I'm not 100% sure what to give this movie. Just because I feel like if I watch it again, I may rate it differently. I'm going to go with a 6 out of 10, but I feel like if I watch it again, I might... Sometimes I pick up on little things that I just didn't pay enough attention to the first time. And I feel like this is one of those movies... I had some enjoyment of it. I just... Yeah. We'll see how it goes next time.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to go much the same route, give this a 6 out of 10. Like I said, Exploitation 101, it's pretty basic, but it has a few, I guess you could say, surprises thrown in there, so it might make it a little more worth watching. And obviously, if you enjoy David Haas or Deodato, and you haven't seen this, it's probably worth watching for that reason too. It has a pretty decent vibe going forward, and even though there's not like a whole lot of things going on, you know, there's still occasionally some suspense. And I don't know, it's not a great movie, but it's decently well made, and it still might be worth a shot if that's your type of thing.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a silly slow motion scene towards the end too.
Oh yeah, I have to say the that scream is pretty beautiful.
Imagine getting an Oscar for that performance. Put him on the ballot. Put him on there.
I'd vote for him.